Maplewood High was a small, aging school nestled in the outskirts of a sleepy town. It had been the heart of the community for generations, but in recent years, strange occurrences began to plague the halls. Students reported hearing footsteps echoing through empty corridors, doors slamming shut on their own, and chilling whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. The rumors grew so intense that attendance began to drop, and soon the school board was forced to make a decision to close the school. However, before the final day, the faculty and students who remained decided to hold one last event, a farewell party to honor the school's long history. As the sun set on that final evening, the mood was somber. The school's power cut out, plunging the party into darkness. Panic spread as those gathered began to feel an oppressive presence. Shadows moved on their own, and the temperature dropped sharply. A group of students decided to investigate, armed with flashlights and their phones. They ventured into the old science wing, which had been abandoned for years. There, they discovered a hidden room, locked and sealed off from the rest of the school. Inside, they found journals and old records from the school's early years, detailing the experiments conducted by a former science teacher who was obsessed with the occult. The records revealed that the teacher had been dismissed after several students mysteriously disappeared, but the school had covered up the incidents. As they read, the students realized they were not alone. The door slammed shut, trapping them inside. The lights flickered, revealing the ghostly figure of the teacher, his eyes glowing with malevolent intent. The group tried to escape, but the school seemed to come alive, trapping them in a maze of hallways that shifted and changed. One by one, the students vanished, pulled into the darkness by unseen hands. By morning, the school was empty, and the authorities found no trace of the missing students. Maplewood High was officially closed the next day, but the town never forgot the chilling events of that final night. To this day, locals avoid the abandoned building, which stands as a reminder of the dark secrets that can lie hidden in the most unexpected places. Cold Hollow Elementary was a quaint, old-fashioned school with a dark past. Built in the late 1800s, it had once been a boarding school for troubled children. Over the years, the school gained a reputation for strange happenings. Children would go missing, only to be found days later, dazed and unable to remember where they had been. Despite these rumors, the school continued to operate, and for a time it seemed the odd occurrences had stopped. But when the school district decided to close Cold Hollow due to declining enrollment, the nightmares began anew. In the weeks leading up to the closure, teachers reported seeing children who weren't enrolled in the school. Pale, silent children who would vanish when approached. One teacher claimed to have followed one of these children into the old basement, only to find herself in a labyrinth of dark, twisting tunnels. She emerged hours later, disoriented and shaken, with no memory of how she had escaped. As the final day of classes approached, the tension in the school became palpable. Students whispered about the phantom children who roamed the halls, and some even claimed to have spoken with them. They said the children warned of a terrible event that would happen on the last day. The night before the school was set to close, a violent storm rolled in, knocking out power and cutting off the school from the rest of the town. The few teachers and students who had stayed late to clean up were trapped inside. As the wind howled and lightning flashed outside, the strange children appeared once more, this time leading the living children deeper into the school. In the confusion, a fire broke out in the gymnasium, quickly spreading through the old building. The teachers tried to evacuate, but the phantom children seemed to guide the students away from safety, back into the dark, forgotten corners of the school. Some claimed they could hear laughter echoing through the halls, a sound that was both childish and sinister. By morning, the fire had consumed most of the building. The authorities found no survivors, only the charred remains of the school. The bodies of the missing children were never recovered, and the town was left to mourn the loss. Cold Hollow Elementary was never rebuilt, and the land remains untouched, a cursed ground that locals refuse to visit. St. Andrew's Academy was a prestigious private school with a history dating back centuries. Its Gothic architecture and sprawling grounds made it a local landmark, but beneath its grand exterior, the school harbored a dark secret. For years, there had been rumors of a hidden chamber somewhere within the school, a place where students and teachers who had fallen out of favor were taken, never to be seen again. The school administration denied these stories, but the whispers persisted. When the decision was made to close St. Andrews due to financial difficulties, the rumors intensified. Former students came forward with stories of strange encounters, locked doors that opened on their own, voices in the walls, and the sense of being watched. As the final term drew to a close, a group of curious students decided to investigate the legend of the hidden chamber. They spent nights searching the school, following clues they found in old records and hidden messages scrawled in textbooks. Eventually, they discovered a concealed staircase behind a bookshelf in the library, leading down into the bowels of the school. The staircase led them to a long-forgotten section of the school, an underground network of rooms and corridors that seemed to have been abandoned for years. The air was thick with dust, and the walls were covered in strange symbols and writings in languages they couldn't decipher. In the deepest part of this hidden labyrinth, they found the chamber. It was a small circular room with a single ancient chair in the center. The walls were lined with shelves filled with jars, each containing a small, glowing object. As they approached, the objects inside the jars began to flicker, and the temperature in the room dropped. Suddenly, the door slammed shut, trapping them inside. The students felt a malevolent presence, a force that seemed to emanate from the chair itself. One of them dared to sit in it, and as they did, the room filled with a blinding light. The others watched in horror as their friend seemed to age rapidly before their eyes, his skin wrinkling and his hair turning white. Terrified, they tried to escape, but the room had become a prison. The walls closed in, and the air grew thin. Just as they thought they would suffocate, the light disappeared, and they found themselves back in the library, the hidden staircase gone. They ran from the school, never to return. The next day, St. Andrews Academy was officially closed, and the building was sealed. It remains abandoned to this day, a place of mystery and fear. Those who dare to approach the old academy at night claim to see lights in the windows and hear the faint sound of children's laughter drifting on the wind.